Honey's natural.
You gotta make it print for you. Bring your shoes so tight.
You say opposite works just as good as the other. Let's start switching to
No.
You think you're allergic to this? You think that's
tested.
Oh, you are that?
Yeah, and my dad was. And my dad's been on it, so I've got another one who's on this photo.
Oh.
Welcome, everybody.
Welcome.
Greetings.
Welcome. How are we doing since last time?
We're good.
It's
Protein
either been
City.
Protein City. All right. All right. So it's either been 2 weeks or a month, depending on when you came to the
Yeah.
last talk. Okay. So we're going to continue on. We're going to dive a little bit more in depth as far as what we're talking about with food, what to eat at restaurants, a little bit more details, what to eat on a daily basis, sample meal plans, things like that. Okay. Who here has been on a diet before? Okay. Who here is still on the diet? Yeah? Okay. What kind of diets you guys on?
Every day.
Every day?
Every day, just watching it.
Just watch it. So something you've established over time.
Yes.
Okay. Because most time when someone hears the word diet, either they've been on one that they've come off of, and they've been on another one, they've come off of it. So they continue to have that cycle. So that's not what we're going to talk about. Our goal is not to be on a diet, but something that we can create long term for a lifetime. Okay. Does that sound good to everybody?
Sure.
Does anybody have any, whether it be success stories or things they've implemented from last time? No? Go ahead.
No white stuff in our house.
No white stuff, and how's that worked out?
It's, you know what, it's not as hard as I thought.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
It's just, I think you've got to just adding in other stuff to replace that. Because if you don't have other stuff to add and replace it, then you feel like you're almost deprived. So it's having that those things you can add in that are going to help you have that success you're looking for.
Yeah.
Anybody else? You got one? Go ahead.
Yes, we've changed all of our oils.
Awesome.
Lots more coconut oil. We got the new salts, and trying to, like she said, getting rid of all the white stuff. No sugar.
Awesome.
So,
Yeah, I mean, just those transitions right there. I mean, because if you could get one little seed from last time, it was well worth the class. So when you make all those transitions, you're setting yourself up for success long term, okay? Because what we're going to talk about is not just temporary, it's just to enhance your life forever, you know? So, I mean, literally talking about transforming your life with the information you're getting, and that's our goal, okay? So here's the title of what we're talking about tonight. Putting together a lifetime eating plan for lasting results, okay? Not that short-term stuff, but lasting results, and improving your health, most importantly, okay? So this is the truth about success when it comes to anything, okay? So we got this iceberg. Some of you guys seen this before, this image? Okay, so it has an iceberg. So what? They say about 7 to 10, 15% of the iceberg you actually see. The rest of it's underneath. So it has success. Down here, hard work, risk, late nights, struggles, failures. That's what you encounter, you know, in life. That's what you're going to encounter with what we're doing here. There's going to be the challenges, but it's just that perseverance, just that persistence, going at it again and again. I added this, I was looking at this and I added in this slide. It said late nights, I added it at 9:47 p.m. on a Saturday. You know, so it's like it just kind of coincides, like, okay, you know, sometimes to get that result that we're looking for, be able to get you guys a result, this is all about you. So I want to make sure that you understand that. But it does take time, it does take effort to make those individual changes, okay? So diet. First off, we have the word die in it. That doesn't sound good, right? Okay. So we want to make that change. That's not where we want to go, okay? So why are diets not the answer? You guys have any ideas why are diets not the answer? We just covered a few.
because they're temporary.
Temporary, okay?
And you feel deprived.
You feel deprived and they're temporary, okay? Those are two big things. Another thing is, let's say I set a goal to lose 10 pounds and I want to lose the 10 pounds in 2 months, okay? Let's say I accomplish that goal. Then what happens?
You go back to your old habits.
You go back to your old habits, and then what happens?
You're
The 10 pounds
at
becomes 15. Yes, okay. So it's that yo-yo cycling that a lot of times someone starts here, and they want to get that ultimate goal or objective, and they end up worse off than they started, because again, it's temporary. So it's good to set those goals for yourself, but what's your plan afterwards, okay? So that's what we're going to talk about, how to implement things that you can still do stuff if you go and socialize with friends and you have some pizza. How do we implement that into our lifestyle and have a success? Okay? A lose-lose situation, not the way that you're thinking, right? Okay. So prolongs the inevitable, which is more weight gain, unfortunately, because it slows our metabolism, those temporary diets. This is a big one too. An emotional roller coaster, okay? So it's like, hey, I feel good a little bit, then I gain the weight back, and then I try to do something else, and then it becomes back and forth. My body releases something called cortisol. You ever heard of that? Okay. So cortisol is a stress hormone, and that causes your body to actually retain more weight. So people that have a really high level of emotional stress, it's harder for them to actually lose weight. So sometimes they even need to look at other things like, hey, maybe I need to get a massage, or maybe I need to read before I go to bed. Maybe I need to do things that's going to downplay that level of stress, because we all have stress in our lives. We talked about that word dopamine, okay? So, and that's where we talked about restrictive, like you mentioned, okay? Because our body craves something called dopamine. It's a feel-good chemical, okay? We inherently, genetically crave it. We can get it from exercise, we can get it from food, we can get it from drugs, you can get it from all types of things. So we want to try to do it in a healthy way, okay? And what we put in our body really, really matters. Okay. This is one of the biggest obstacles. I'm gonna do that in 2 weeks. I'm gonna do that in a month. I'm gonna start tomorrow. Okay. So just think about those words when you're saying them, because the tough thing is it doesn't have to be the perfect time to start. Okay. You don't have to have everything lined up. You don't have to have everything in your pantry that you want. Start with one little thing. Okay. Just got to have the action steps. Because it's easy to create the blueprint in your head, but it's a lot harder to take those action steps. So just start with one little simple thing, okay? With what we're talking about, just a little implementation goes a long way. Not perfection, okay? And that's what I was talking about, that little step. We're not shooting for perfection. You don't have to have the perfect of everything to get started. It's one thing at a time. So I have some recipes on the back sheet there, but these right here, I'm not probably the best cook per se. I can tell you the foods to eat, but how to put them together, I can struggle with that. I'm just being honest with you, okay? So these are actually 10. I've checked out all these. These are all awesome, okay? They're different sites. You can actually go to each one of these and subscribe, okay? For those who use the internet, and you can get. I think they have most of them have daily emails of different recipes and things like that. Or obviously you can go to the sites and just explore. But a lot of healthy recipes, okay? All the foods we're going to talk about, implement them, be able to use them for whether it be stuff for snacks, stuff for dinner, stuff for breakfast. So these are 10 different places that you can go. This last one right here has awesome stuff, but not everything's excellent. There is a mixture of stuff, so just be aware of that. That's why I have a little asterisk that says not all, okay? Probably the biggest ones I would look at on here are number 1 is awesome, number 1, 2, and 8. If anybody is interested in where to go. 1, 2, 4, and 8. Those are probably the best ones that I would start for sure. Food Babe, Whole30. This one's awesome against all grain. And then Dr. Axe has a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, someone told me about number 1 last week.
Number 1?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Food Babe.
Awesome. Yeah, this one. Yeah, this would probably be, if not the best, for sure. That's a really good one. Okay. Oh, I shut it off. So the basics, okay? All the foods on here, everything on there is extremely, what? Go ahead.
This was next. You skipped one.
It might just be, is it? Oh, you're right. Okay, thank you. That's the time when I turned it off, okay? Before we get to that, so the key word here, lifetime, okay? We don't want this to be temporary. So these are things to implement to make it lifetime, okay? So these are just some strategies and even some ways to go about doing things that are going to last every single day of your life that you can do. Eat for energy early and eat light late, okay? Now this can depend on your job, but the majority of the time when we wake up, we want to eat the most because our body's going to burn the most throughout the day. A lot of us have a pattern where we skip breakfast, maybe a light lunch and a heavy dinner. Then what do? We go to sleep. So our body wants to store, okay? So to make sure that we can use what we put in our body, the best thing is to try to transition that whole paradigm. So you have more in the morning, obviously a medium-sized lunch, lighter dinner, and then throw snacks in there, and we'll talk about that. But this is something definitely where you want to try to increase the size of what you're eating in the morning because your body's going to utilize more of it, okay? And obviously when we're going to bed, our body's in a state where it wants to store stuff and sleep. You know, it's repair time. We talked about the 80-20 concept last week. So 80-20 means this: if you do right 80% of the time, you can kind of get away with 20% of the other stuff, okay? Now this is generalized, this is for everybody. If someone wants to take it to a more advanced level, they might say, I don't want 20% of the time to not do what I should do, okay? So this is something that if you do this, you will have success, okay? So 80% of the time I'm going to eat what we're talking about. If the other 20% of the time I want to socialize with friends, do other things, as long as you don't overindulge too much, you can get away with some of that, okay? This is another thing I'd write, is add 3 favorites, 3 things you like to eat the most, and eat them every week, okay? Just 3 times. So let's say one of my favorite things is ice cream, okay? I would say eat it, but add it in and implement it in a way that you're not having it every night, okay? Because the thing is, then it's already laid out, so it's not where, well, 10 o'clock rolls around, I'm not able to sleep, let's go for the ice cream, okay? And some people, like I said, may not want to go there at all, and that's fine, but to at least get things going in the right direction, write down your 3 favorite things, implement them and be able to eat them at some portion of the week. Hey, I want to eat it on a Saturday night, go for it, okay? Carbohydrates, like we talked about before, some people, you said about taking out the white stuff, the bread, rice, pasta, things like that. Quinoa, sweet potatoes, there's different vegetables, fruits, those are all carbohydrates. So I have a majority of the carbohydrates early in the day and around workouts, okay? So carbohydrates are a major energy source for our body. So again, if we're taking that in the beginning of the day, our body can use more of that for fuel, okay? And it's going to help our blood sugar levels as well if we're having more in the beginning of the day versus having all kinds of it throughout the day. It's going to spike our blood sugar. It's going to make us really tired. Just like if someone has a bunch of whatever, has a bunch of rice, a bunch of pasta for a lunch and they go back to work, or then all of a sudden an hour later they get really tired, right? So your blood sugar spikes way up and then it goes way down, okay? So you want to be able to stabilize that as much as you can. And I have around workouts too. So carbohydrates for some people can give the body a little bit of energy to work out, and it can actually help you recover quicker from your workout so you're not as sore the next day. So if you're going out, you're walking, you're doing something at the gym, eating some good carbohydrates after you're done working out is actually a good thing. Your body uses something called glycogen, so it burns its glycogen when you work out, which is a carbohydrate store. So when you put it right back in after you're done working out, your body doesn't want to store it. It actually wants to use it from the repair aspect of the muscle, okay? So around your workouts and early in the day. Obviously, if you work 10 p.m. to 6 a.m., you might have to change that structure. So if you have that schedule, you can talk to me and we can work that out. This right here, I'll talk a little bit about this. This is more of an advanced concept. Has anybody ever heard of carbohydrate cycling? Okay. So this is kind of getting a step ahead because this kind of almost ties into what we're going to talk about at the next talk as far as fat loss, okay, or just weight loss in general, which is going to be at the end of March. So carbohydrate cycling means this, is our body gets used to what we do on a day-to-day basis. It gets used to the same thing, okay? So this type of thing a lot of people have success with as far as athletes or people that want to lose that extra weight that they have. So they'll eat a good majority of carbohydrates for, say, a day, and then they won't have many for a couple days. And they'll eat more for a day, then they won't have any for a couple days. And you can kind of tweak your body. Maybe I want to do it 2 days, and then not for 2 days, and 2 days, and not for 2 days. So it's a strategy where you can still have that stuff, but you're not having it all the time. And it helps regulate your blood sugar levels. And it's something that's really beneficial more for athletes than anything else. But it can be successful for some people, especially if you want to lose that little extra weight.
Can you give an example of
what a day would look like, or an example of
a
carbohydrate?
No.
So I'll give you an example. So let's say someone was going to have, so they're going to keep their carbohydrates lower one day. So they're not eating as much, even like, well, they can have some fruit, but not eating as much, say, sweet potatoes, or if they're eating something healthy like oats, quinoa, pasta, whatever. They're really limiting that for a day or 2 days.
Oh, okay.
And then they start to add that in on, say, the 3rd day. So they have more sweet potatoes, they have more oats, they have more things like that. So they're basically taking it out for a couple days, adding it in for a day, taking it out for a couple days.
Are you lessening the protein then when you're adding the carbohydrates?
You can kind of balance that out a little bit. It depends on what you're trying to do, okay? So if you're trying to say, gain weight or maintain your weight, you might want to keep that pretty similar. But yeah, if you're trying to lose weight, you probably want to drop that down a little bit, okay?
Thank you.
It is a more advanced concept, okay? So it's not for everybody. But it's something that if someone's looking for that little edge, they can kind of do that, okay? Has anybody ever heard of a spiralizer? Yeah?
Got one for Christmas.
Awesome, awesome, okay. You guys never heard of one?
Nope.
So this is a thing that you can replace, say, for a lot of your, maybe your pastas and stuff like that for people who really love pasta.
We call it spaghetti.
Spaghetti, you could have that too, okay? So like,
It's a vegetable and you
Yep.
turn it into a
Zucchini.
spiral-looking noodle
Yep.
instead of pasta.
so like
Great.
zucchini squash or sweet potatoes, things like that, you can make them like noodles. So it's just an alternative, you know? If you want to have pasta sometimes and you want to try something a little bit different, it's just an alternative. It's not saying never have pasta. It's just saying it's an alternative that you can add in at times, okay? But just something where you can add in that healthier food, okay? Here's another big one. Don't count calories. All calories are not equal, okay? It says, sorry, Weight Watchers, okay?
Right.
So that's where, you know, if you have 10 calories of sugar versus 10 calories of broccoli, I mean, it's just different. Your body processes it different. The people are going to look different at the end of that, you know, and that's where I think last time I did the studies, I had the studies up with the people that had the same calories, but they shifted what they ate. Like one had a higher fat diet,
Right.
one had a higher carbohydrate diet, and they had a different end result after they followed that for a period of time. Because it's this, it's not the same. So I would encourage people not to count your calories, okay? And that's not for everybody, but I would encourage people actually not to, okay? So how do you keep track of what you're doing, right? I would probably write down for a day or two, okay, what you're doing and just kind of use that as a baseline to see, hey, this is what I'm typically eating. Follow that for a period of time, whether it be 2 to 4 weeks, and see how your body responds, okay? If you're getting that desired result that you want, stay the course. If you say, hey, I want to gain a little weight or I want to lose that little weight, you might need to drop things down a little bit or add things in a little, okay? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I think it holds you more accountable to journal too.
Yeah, to write stuff down it does, because it just, yeah, it's that kind of like, hey, if I eat this, I have to write it down, I have to go back to that to be able to use that. And especially if you can team up with somebody, and I mean any of this stuff, when you can team up and just check in with somebody, it's that accountability again. So I would highly recommend that, everything that we're talking about. Good fats from bad fats, this is the big one. Okay, so we talked about the good fats, we're going to go over some of those again. Avocados, olive oil, coconut oil. What are bad fats?
Bacon.
Bacon can go either way, yeah, but for the most part, bacon.
Meat, red meat.
Yeah, some of the red meats, depends on the type, okay?
Vegetable oil.
Vegetable oil, margarine, yep. Okay, so you guys got it. So it's just adding in more of the good fats because it's going to help your body overall. A lot of benefits to healthy fats, okay? And this is a concept we talked about last time, the fresh fiber first. So before like meals, being able to add in, say, fruits or vegetables, I said add in a fresh fruit or a fresh vegetable before you have a meal. Just it's going to help you have a level of fullness, so hopefully eat less if that's the route you're going for. But it's just going to add some fiber, which is beneficial for you overall, for your digestive system. Okay. So this is a basic list of foods, okay? So I got a couple different groups here. So the first one here, this is like some of the denser carbohydrates that I'd recommend. Okay, so we have brown rice. Has everybody heard of quinoa?
Quinoa.
Okay, quinoa, sweet potatoes, oats, beans. So stuff like that, I would say pretty much you can add in just about at any point you want to, okay? Now stuff, if say someone I want to have like a pasta, if you wanted to go to like a whole wheat pasta, okay, that's great. It'd be like, I'd start with say something like a quinoa, and then go to like a whole wheat pasta, and then a regular pasta. So you can kind of, again, if you add them in, you know, say add in those things 3 times a week, you can add in whatever, but just use your discernment with what your objective is.
Are there any beans you should stay away from?
That depends on the person. Some people have sensitivities to beans.
But all of them are basically good.
I would say yes, okay? But the thing is, if someone has a lot of digestive issues, they can create some issues for some people. So it depends on the person, but for the most part, I would have nothing against most of those. So that's in the carbohydrate group. Down here is more of the meats or the proteins: chicken. I mentioned grass-fed beef, fish, eggs, fruits and vegetables. This is more of the fat stuff. I got a lot of them on here: nuts, nut butters, avocado, olive oil. Ghee is what's called a clarified butter. Have you guys ever heard of that one?
No.
Okay.
No.
It's good for you. See, it's called ghee. You can find it in most stores actually. Grass-fed butter, coconut oil, grapeseed oil, okay, fatty fish, flax. Oh, I got grapeseed oil twice. Most want to recommend that. Grapeseed oil, and then well, that's in between flax seeds. That's why I wrote twice. Okay, or just seeds in general. Pumpkin seeds,
Sunflower.
chia seeds, sunflower seeds can be good. Yep, any type of seed. Okay. As a sweetener, if someone wants a sweetener, I would use stevia. okay, which is a natural sweetener. And then coconut milk, almond milk. Has anybody ever heard of kombucha? No? Nobody's heard of that? Okay. So it's, you almost have, that one you pretty much buy at most health food type stores. It's something you can actually make. It's basically like a fermented tea. It's got a lot of probiotics in it. You can look into it, okay? You can actually make it yourself if you want to.
Where's goat milk?
Goat milk?
Is that any good?
I mean, I would say it can be
They
decent.
make
It just
cheese out of
depends.
that too, don't they?
Yeah, it's because it has a little bit less lactose. For some people that are lactose intolerant, it get a little bit easier on them. Yep. Yep, absolutely. Yeah, kombucha is good too for your immune system. Helps boost up your immune system. So a lot of people, if they're ill, they'll drink it to try to boost their immune system as well. Go ahead.
Is coconut milk or is almond milk better than coconut milk?
Depends on what you're using it for. I would probably say coconut milk's better than almond milk, but it depends on what you're using it for because it's thicker. So if you're gonna drink it or something, you probably want almond milk versus coconut milk.
Okay.
The other thing is if you drank straight coconut milk, it has like, for the serving size, it has a lot of calories, which is not bad, but it does have a lot more calories than almond milk. So, but it's good to add in things because it's a healthier fat. You guys have any questions on these, as far as foods? Are these things that you've been using? You thought about
I
using?
wanted them, yeah.
Okay, awesome, great.
Except I don't know where to get grass-fed beef around here.
Grass-fed beef, I know they have some at the Peach Stand.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's,
Oh,
I
that's
didn't even
okay.
think about that.
Yeah, Peach Stand, the corn,
Yeah,
yeah,
they do.
down there.
Earth Fair.
Earth Fair will, Whole Foods will.
Isn't Omaha steak red?
What's that?
Omaha steaks, aren't they grass fed?
I don't know that one. I'll have to look into that, I don't know.
They advertise all over the place. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know that.
What about buffalo meat?
Buffalo's really good. Yeah, we're gonna go over a couple things about buffalo. Because buffalo, the thing about that, so what's the difference between the conventional and the grass-fed, first off, going back to that?
No
The-
steroids.
No steroids, it's gonna have a lot, it has, the fats are a lot healthier because of what the cows are basically eating, things like that.
Yeah. Dr. Phil, or not Dr., Dr. Oz was talking about that today.
Oh, yeah?
About, yeah, there's a farmer or a cattleman in Texas who was selling his cow, keeping his cows the way they do with, all the hormones and the antibiotics and things. And then he went back to the natural way of raising cows. They're grazing and no antibiotics and any of that stuff. And the cows are smaller, but it's a lot better for you. And they showed the difference about, the fat, the different colors in the fat from grass-fed and
Yeah, grass-fed,
corn-fed.
yeah. Grass-fed meat has a lot of what's called CLA. Has anybody ever heard of that? CLA, so a lot of people take it for weight loss, conjugated linoleic acid. There's a lot of that in grass-fed beef, so even like when you're talking about, some people actually use CLA for weight loss, that's what's in like the grass-fed meats, okay? But yeah, you're right, if you had a grass-fed cow versus a corn-fed, it is gonna be smaller because it doesn't have all the steroids and doesn't have all the other stuff. But
And he
when you
said
break down the profile, it is a lot healthier.
the farmer said it's $3 a pound more for the grass-fed. So I think that's gonna deter a lot of people.
It will, and that's where you gotta kind of balance stuff. So the
Right.
thing is, I wouldn't say you don't have to change everything, but maybe you wanna change, maybe I'm gonna change, as far as I'm gonna get healthier fats, I'm gonna add healthier meats. And the rest of the stuff I'll buy more conventional. So that might be a good place to be able to start.
Or eat
I
less
have a
meat.
friend that eats less meat, more
Mhm.
portion control, but quality meat.
Yep, that's another option. That's another option.
So your wild game's better than the domestic animal anyway,
Yeah,
all of it.
absolutely.
Not venison, anything.
Absolutely. Good call, okay? So here's tools for a sample day, okay? So eat often, and I put every 2.5 to 4 hours. Your body doesn't have a clock like that. Just some sort of frequency, because what that's gonna do is gonna help keep your metabolism boosted, okay? And it's gonna prevent you from wanting to go and ravage the refrigerator and eat, 3,000-4,000 calories at one time, okay? So it's just gonna help balance your blood sugar levels, so things aren't jumping up and down, which is important for diabetics, but at the same time, it's gonna help just from a weight management standpoint, okay? And this is just a basic concept, but stick with whole foods and as minimally processed as possible, okay? So when you read the ingredient label, if it has an ingredient label something that has all these different stuff you can't even pronounce, it's not stuff you want to have all the time, okay? Because there's a lot of chemicals, a lot of additives, and that's the stuff with, again, over time, if you have it one time, that's, you know, it's not going to be detrimental, but if you do that all the time, you got to look at the potential outcome of that, okay? We talked about the water last time. Drink half your body weight in ounces of water. Hydrate early in the day. Okay, hydration early in the day when we first wake up, our body's most dehydrated. So we want to make sure we're hydrating right from the get-go. Lots of advantages to that from energy standpoint. It helps boost your metabolism from the get-go. So something that we want to pay attention to right from the start of the day. Caffeine, which is a big one for a lot of people. I said limit caffeine to the morning, around if you're going to work out, like around your workout. Because if you're having a lot of it at the end of the day, you're going to sleep. People have enough sleep issues. Go
Does
ahead.
decaf make any difference, or is,
As far as, yeah, I mean, if you're going to have that at the end of the day, that'd be different, yeah. 'cause
or
it's not
in
gonna-
place of all coffee? Is it any better, or?
I mean, as far as the caffeine content, I don't think there's much of a difference as far as that goes. Because, I mean, yeah, if you want to limit your caffeine, it might be a good route to go. But, I mean, for some people, I don't think it's really gonna matter a whole lot. For some people, though, they probably want to avoid the caffeine, so. But it depends on the volume you're using. Because, like, this is a tough one, because if someone said, hey, I'm drinking coffee that has caffeine in it, should I stop? I mean, there's the coffee beans loaded in antioxidants, so there can be a big advantage there. So, but I mean, if you wanted to go decaf and you're drinking because you like coffee and it's decaf, yeah.
Well, and if it's water processed, isn't that better? Water
It's gonna be,
processed?
yeah, it is gonna be a little bit better. Yep. Yep, absolutely. Okay. These are three things that, and I added this on because these are three things that I do every morning. Because I know you had asked the question last time, so I just wanted to be able to add a couple things that I do, okay? And I'll explain these. So these are three things, I guess if someone's asked what supplements to take, this is pretty much it, okay? So ACV is apple cider vinegar. Actually, I should have brought this out here. Does anybody use apple cider vinegar ever? Yeah?
A friend of mine uses it for diabetes, puts it in his orange juice, and it helps to stabilize blood sugar.
Yep.
But I'm allergic to yeast, so I can't obviously do it, but I've heard many good health benefits to that.
Right, yeah. So apple cider vinegar, like if you look into apple cider vinegar, we could do a whole talk on it, okay?
Really?
Yeah, it's tremendous. It helps with so many different things. But like the stuff you're talking about, they show people that use about a tablespoon right before they eat a meal. It actually boosts your metabolism about 20 to 30%.
Because
Okay.
of the acid in it?
The acidity, because it's fermented, it actually, yeah, can bump up your metabolism, just how the body processes things. So that's something to look into. For blood sugar regulation, for diabetics, it can do the same thing with having it before or after a meal.
Do we just drink it like that, or?
You can do a lot of things. Some people put it in a tea, but like put a tablespoon in tea, put a tablespoon in 8-ounce water.
Yeah.
I just basically take a little tablespoon of it, okay? But it's something that's good for your immune system. The thing about it too, this kind, you see how it's kind of like a murky color and has little stuff on the bottom?
Yeah.
It's like a flint ware.
Yeah, okay, that's called the mother, okay? And it's something that you actually want because it has a lot of the probiotics and the good stuff in it. So you want something that's actually unfiltered, ideally, as far as if you're going to drink it on a regular basis. So that's what gives it the murky color, so it doesn't look so hot. So
You shake it before you,
you probably would want to. You don't have to, okay? But you probably would want to.
This is better than the regular apple cider vinegar they use.
Yeah, because of that thing called the mother. That's where it has a lot of the good probiotics. Things called enzymes that help you digest things a little bit easier.
Now,
So
where do you get
Oh,
that?
where do you get that?
you can get this anywhere. This is actually from Harris Teeter, so you can get it anywhere.
if it's good with bourbon.
I would like to suggest that you've never had it before,
Yeah.
because someone didn't tell me, I just drunk it straight out of the bottle.
Margarita.
Almost like it twisted in my tongue. So I usually put it in this in the morning, and then put it like a little straw in the freezer, and just use a straw, and it goes down really well.
Yeah, it helps. I mean, it helps some people with sinus issues. I mean, some people, you can put this on cuts and stuff and it actually heals. I mean, it's crazy what it has the ability to do.
It's before and after, right? You can,
Before and after what?
you can you take one before, one after,
After you eat?
yeah?
I would say before. I'd do right before.
Or just one shot,
Just one, yeah.
per day or per meal?
If I was gonna do it every meal, I'd probably do a teaspoon, okay? Because you could have too much. If you had too much apple cider vinegar, what would happen is you'd actually develop little sores in your mouth, okay? If you had too much, okay? If you're gonna do it with the meals, I would do a teaspoon. Okay, if you're just gonna do it once a day, I'd probably do like a tablespoon. I wouldn't do more than about 2 tablespoons a day.
Does it taste like vinegar?
Yep.
I mean, just the thought of it.
Yeah, but it's diluted, so.
Lots of questions on the apple cider vinegar.
Yeah, yes.
Okay,
Should go to a french fry?
go ahead.
Hey, you put
You choke on the vinegar?
Yeah.
Then you probably don't wanna use it, right? Okay.
I use it very minutely sometimes.
The only thing I could think is if you maybe made like a tea or something like that, like an herbal tea or something, that would kind of dilute it. Where you just put it like, and I'd probably start really small, like a half a teaspoon, like something small. So, so that'd be something I'd start. So that's something I do in the morning, and I don't do it like with every meal. I just do it once a day. Okay. No one else is gonna want to do this, but I do this. Okay. So this is the herb. Has anybody heard of turmeric?
Yes.
Okay. So I actually take a teaspoon of this.
Oh my
So
God.
just straight, but
Did you say table or tea?
teaspoon. Teaspoon.
Right
But-
there.
But the thing is, like turmeric's extremely anti-inflammatory, okay? So pretty much all disease process in the body starts with inflammation. So just things you can do to bring down the inflammation. You can get this in capsules, tablets. I'm not saying you have to do what I do. I'm just sharing what I
So
do.
the capsules are good.
That'd probably be a better option for pretty much
What
everybody.
milligram?
So this stuff, yeah, me, I'm just taking this stuff, so, yeah.
Okay.
But yeah,
So you don't get choked on it, the power of it?
no,
I've heard of, I have a friend that's very holistic. She makes a paste out of it. I don't know what she does.
yeah, I mean,
with
obviously
it.
it's a great spice to cook with if you want to cook with it too.
Yeah.
So, then the last one I take, and I don't have any with me, is an omega-3 fish oil, okay? I usually take like a liquid. I like, I think I mentioned before, Carlson's or Nordic Naturals. That's what I usually recommend to people, okay? Great for your brain, great for inflammation again, and just stuff to jumpstart your day.
Carlson's or what?
Nordic Naturals.
Okay.
Yep. Does anybody have any other questions on those? Besides, hey, I don't want to do that?
Yes, sometimes those fish oils will, you'll,
If you got those
revisit.
two, if you got
Okay,
those
they
two and
don't.
and
We'll
it
do
did
that.
that, I'd be surprised. Okay, I'm not saying it won't, but I'd be surprised. Okay, they're pretty, yeah, just the purity of them.
The problem that I've had with fish oils is, like omega-3s and stuff like that, has been then burping up fish
Yep.
taste all the time. So
And-
these two that you're suggesting.
Yep, that's what
are
she was
not?
just recommending.
Oh.
I can't guarantee that, but because of the purity of them, usually won't have that issue, okay?
that's what I meant by revisiting. It
Yeah.
doesn't revisit you if you get
Okay.
a
Okay. Right.
Yeah, because that's something you don't want to go out and purchase something if you know that's going to be
Right.
the response.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely. Okay. So I'm actually going to pull up a restaurant menu, but I'm going to talk about a couple things first off, okay? So as far as eating at restaurants, yeah, let me talk to this first, okay? So there's a variety of things you can eat depending on the restaurant that you're going to, okay? Now these are tips that I'm talking about, again, reduced inflammation. If you're going out with friends and hey, this is one of the times that I want to indulge, then maybe this is something you can just add little tips to that you could take in consideration, okay? So I said change or reduce your carbohydrates.